Hello everyone, welcome back to X-Plane 11. We're going to be going through a tutorial today on how to start up your Boeing 737-800 Zibo Mod. This is going to be a cold and dark tutorial, which means everything is off right now. And I'll take you step by step through all of the procedures you need to take. Is there a quicker way to this? I'm sure, but we're using a checklist. We're going to go through every single bit as if you're going to be taking this aircraft on a long flight. We will not be covering the FMC except for the initializing your IRS position. FMC can be covered, was already covered in a previous tutorial, and you can look that up. It's a two-part tutorial. So if you're looking for an FMC, this is not the tutorial for you. Go back and look at my other tutorial about the FMC, and I covered that in depth. So let's get started here. First, we're going to look down here, and we're going to press parking brake on. We're going to make sure our landing gear are down, which they are, and speed brake is down, which I believe they are. Okay, and so now we're going to look up overhead. Flaps up, yeah, flaps are up. Okay, we're going to look overhead. This is where we're going to do most of our work here today. First things first, we're going to turn on our battery. To do that, you're going to find this panel right here, the DC. This is your electrical system right here, okay? So we're going to turn our DC versus battery. We're going to turn that to on. You'll see all lights turn on, everything like that. We're turning it on, and then we're also going to guard it. That way I can't accidentally turn it off and screw everything up. So we're going to guard. Next, what we're going to do, we're going to turn standby power, which is this right here, to auto. So we're going to flip it to auto. Hear that stuff start rearing up here in the cockpit. Then we're going to flip it to guard as well. Okay. We're going to make sure these are covered, which they are. We're going to make sure bus transfer is on auto. It is on auto and is on guard. Ground power. Since we have ground power available, we're going to turn that to on. If we're not at a ramp that has available ground power, then you can do that elsewhere. You can just keep the battery on. But since we have ground power, we will use it. At this point, we're going to go ahead and initiate the IRS mode selector. We're going to find our position in the world. Before we do that, though, I want to take you down to the FMC. I can go out of date for a second. When you're in the FMC, it's important, if you want to change how long it takes for your IRS to get your position, you can do that. If you want to go real life, you can do that. But the way you do it is you go into Extras, Others, and you'll see here align time. What you want to do here is you can change this. So real life is about 15 minutes, long is about 7, and short is about 1 minute. So I'm going to change it to short just for this tutorial's sake. And I'm going to go back to the menu, and we're good there. Let me go back to our cockpit view. Now we're going to go up to our IRS selector, which is, if this is your main panel, you're going to go up more, and this is right here, the IRS display. What you're going to do is you're going to change this first to align. You'll see where it says on DC, on DC. And it's going to say aligning. Now you're going to change this little rotator thing to heading and SDS. And you'll see it says 1 minute until it aligns. And if we sit here for approximately 1 minute, you'll see it change from 001 to blank. And we'll wait just a second so you can see that, because our next step is to change the IRS mode selectors to nav. But we can't do that until we've aligned. So we're waiting. And we're waiting. And we're waiting some more. Won't be much longer. But this whole system, the IRS system, is basically selecting where you are in the world, your lat, your long, your heading, everything like that, and putting it into your computer so that your displays work. Okay. It's changed from a line. That's gone away. Now, if you notice, you're missing stuff, right, on your displays. You're like, what's up with that? If you see this, the issue is your IRS alignment, okay? That's your issue. So we're going to go back up. We're going to go to nav. Now, you see it's flashing. It's saying it's aligned, but there's still a problem. You go down, you see, oh, it's still not showing. That's because you got to go into your FMC, and it says enter IRS position. right? So hit your FMC. Pos int, which is position initial. And you'll see these blank slots right here. What you'll do is you'll grab your position right here by selecting this button and just dropping it in there. And voila, all the things turn on. And the reason that is the way it works is because it's found your position using satellites and everything like that, and now it's taking it and going, okay, now we're going to tell the computer exactly where we are. Okay, now that we've done that, we're going to make sure iris alignment is complete. We've checked it. We're good to go on that. Yep, good to go. It's got our heading and everything. Perfect. Now, we're going to go down to the control panel. We're going to make sure we can actually go up to the control panel. This section, which is the flight control panel. Okay, and you'll notice, see how like there's different panels? Each one does different things. So this is your flight control panel. What we're going to make sure is that the flight control switches, which are right here, they're closed and guarded, which they are. And we're going to make sure the flight spoilers right here, closed and guarded. The yaw dampener, we're going to make sure this goes to on. And you'll see that go away. Alternate flaps master switch, you see this, it is closed and guarded. Ultra flaps position is in off. That's correct. So we've checked that panel, we're good to go. Now moving on to navigation. What you're going to want to see is normal all around, except for one auto. So normal, 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 auto. Good to go there. Now we're going to go to our fuel panel. It should, so right now crossfeed should be off, which it is. On would be if this is rotated to the right, like that. That's crossfeed. But it needs to be off. And all fuel pumps should be off at this time. They are. Now, I'm not going to worry about the radios, because right at this point you would go ahead and set all your frequencies in your radio panel, which is down here. You go ahead and set all your radios up. We're not going to worry about that, because honestly I don't use the radios except for ILS, so I don't even worry about that. Make sure our cabin utilities and our IFE pass switch power suites are on. Oh, I totally missed this. So when you turn the ground power on, change the AC to ground power. Yeah. Anyway. Let's see here. And this should be on bat anyway, because we're on a battery. Alright. Now, we're going to go ahead and start up our APU. Now, to turn on our APU, the way this is going to work, okay? First thing, you need to open up one of your, you turn on one of your fuel pumps to get fuel into the APU. The APU, which is the alternate power, oh gosh, alternate power unit, that's what it is, yeah. Alternate power unit generator. That is located in the tail of this aircraft. If you go outside, I'll show you exactly where that is. Because, you know, I didn't know this until I found out. I was like, oh, that's cool. So if you notice, in the rear of 737s and most aircraft, you'll see this hole. That's the exhaust for the APU. The APU located right there in the tail. Okay, so we're going to go back inside here. And we're going to turn this sucker on. So we're going to turn our aft pump 1. You'll see low pressure go away. Once the low pressure has gone away, what you're going to do is you're going to change your APU start, which is right here next to your engine start and your landing lights and taxi lights. We're going to go ahead and turn it on, which means nothing's happened. It just means the APU is activated, it's on. But to actually start it, you have to click and hold. Now I'm going to hold it for about 3 seconds and release. And you'll see a low oil pressure show up, button show up here. And we're going to wait because you're going to see in just a second the EGT is going to start boosting up. There it is. Now, we're going to wait for that to finish. Once it's finished, you're going to see a little light appear here just saying, hey, the APU is available if you want to use that for power. That's basically what it's saying. And we are going to use it because, you know, we don't want to be starting up our engines on ground power. Even though you can do that. We don't want to do that because we're actually going to be starting our engines as we're pushing back. Because usually how it works is you'll get clearance for pushback and engine start. So you'll push back away from the gate as you push back. And if you actually have ever flown an actual real-life aircraft, you'll notice this. Okay, so it's turned on. So we're going to go and turn on APU 1 and APU 2, both to on. At this point, we're going to disconnect ground power, and we're going to switch this to APU Gen. Now, equipment cooling supply exhaust for both these will be normal, so we're good there. Emergency exit lights, which is this panel. We can just turn these to on, or armed, sorry, not on, armed, and then close the guard. Seatbelt signs, we're going to turn those to auto. Smoking, we're going to turn on. Windshield wiper selectors, which are these right here, they're in park, both of them, so we're good there. Window heat power test, so to do that, all we're going to do is take this center right here, power test, okay, they all work. Window heat overhead. I'm sorry, nope, sorry, my bad. Overheat, sorry. They work. So the whole point is to keep the windows in your cockpit from icing up. Not overhead, it's overheat. You're testing your overheat. Window heat left and right. So we're actually going to turn them on now. Fantastic. Now probe heat switches, they should be off, which they are. Wing anti-ice switch, which is down here, is off. Engine anti-ice off. 1 and 2 are both off. Now we're going to go down to engine hydraulic pumps. They should both be on. They are. Electric hydraulic pumps should be both off, which they are. Air conditioning packs. This is your air conditioning over here. Your left pack and your right pack, they should both be auto. They are, let's see, recirculation fan switches are on auto. Both are all on auto. Isolation valve should be on open right now. Engine bleed switches. Both of these should go on. So this is your left, this is your right. So on. APU bleed on. Now I hear that? That's because the air conditioning just basically started up. Cabin pressurization. This is your cabin pressurization. We're just going to say we're going to be, I don't know, let's say we're going to be flying at 28,000 feet. And landing at 0 is fine. Pressurization should be auto, which it is. Auto brake selector. So if we go down to here, you'll see auto brake right here. We're going to select that to RTO. I'm going to turn the master off. RTO. Okay. That's good. Crew, oxygen, and passenger. So oxygen's up here, and it's always going to be good, so you don't have to worry about that. Master lights. To test them, all you're going to do is flip this switch up. You're good to go. And stall warning test, don't worry about that. Alright. Yep. So, now that we're pretty much set at this point to get pushback and engine start. So, to do that, I'll make sure something real fast. Yeah, okay. So, we're going to go back up to our overhead panel. Engine start should be both on auto, sorry. These should be on, sorry, yeah, it should be cut off, yep. Sorry. And we're on idle, our throttle's on idle. So, now we're going to, at this point, this is when you would set your autopilot. I'm not going to worry about that, but because I'm not actually going to be taking off. But you would set your autopilot, your course, everything to do with that, you would set it right now. Yeah, so then you would go up. So once you say you've finished your autopilot, whatever it be, you go up to your overhead panel, and at this point, you're going to turn on all of your fuel pumps. All low pressures are off, so we're good. Now we're going to turn on our electric pumps. These are electric hydraulic pumps. You'll notice these low pressures went away over here. Now we're going to turn our anti-collision lights on. Our logos, wheel and wing, they should all be on. Trim is set, so we're not going to worry about the trim because, oh gosh, come on. Yeah, I'm pretty much already in takeoff trim. Yeah. So trim set for takeoff. Now we're going to go ahead and get a pushback. I had to press the brake, so I released the parking brake there. Push cart will come and push us back. In the meantime, we're going to go over here and we're going to turn our air conditioning packs off, because we don't want to have the exhaust and stuff coming in. Alright, so we're going to change. We're going to do our engines, right? So we're going to start with engine 2. So we're going to switch this to the right engine, which is engine 2. And we're going to switch to ground. Now if you look, you'll see this is N2. You're going to wait for N2 to hit about 20. Then you're going to give it some fuel. So engine 2. And you'll see N1 start to come through. Once the N1 hits 20, we'll go ahead and start engine number 1. Alright. So we're going to switch now to engine 1, which is the left engine. Add the ground. Same process. Oh gosh, if I can get it. There we go. Waiting for 20. We're at 20. Add that fuel.
See you next time.
Alright. Both our engines are start up. We're going to go up here. We're going to change this back to both. Now, at this point, you've successfully turned on your aircraft, but you're not done. You're going to go ahead and switch off your APU. Your power is going to now go to your actual engines. Right, so you're going to change this to Gen 1. So your actual engines produce electricity, and you're going to use that. Anti-ice, so you can turn your, what do you call it? Oh gosh, your AC back on, basically, to give your passengers the AC. You're going to change the isolation valve to auto. And we're going to go and turn off our bleeds, our APU bleeds, sorry. And we're going to turn off our APU. And we're going to change our engine start switch to continuous. Okay, this is in case for some reason we have a stall on one of our engines. The other engine's electricity can actually use it to start up the other engine. That way we don't ever lose an engine while we're flying because of a stall, or like a engine stall or something like that. At this point, what you would do is you go and turn your taxi lights. That way you have lights coming off your taxi. Make sure your parking brake's off. Yeah, so at this point, what you can do is you can basically do what they call a brake test. So as you start taxiing, you're just going to tap the brakes to make sure they work. And this is where you start going into your because that was the pre-taxi checklist. Now we're going to start going into your pre-flight, not your pre-flight, your pre-takeoff, before takeoff procedures. That way you have everything set, etc., etc. So you're going to taxi all the way to your runway that you're taking off from. Then you would do your before takeoff procedures. Now I will put a link in the description for the checklist that I used for this start and stop. You follow the checklist as it says, you'll be good to go, guys. You'll be able to start this thing up cold and dark and be able to fly it anywhere that it can reach. I guarantee you. Okay. But if you have any questions, if for some reason something doesn't work, I'll do my best to help you out. Just drop a comment below. I'll be sure to get back to you if I have the time to do so. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this cold and dark start tutorial. Hopefully it answers some of y'all's questions and it helps you out in some way. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on another X-Plane 11 video.